After 3 months in Australia, we are now in Thailand. Before we get into our first impressions, we will show you the trip.
Few words about our trip. It was halfway comparing to our first one from Norway to Australia, but it took a long time. We took 2 flights. We had to go to the Brisbane Airport, and maybe you would like to share some things about that.
Yeah, we had our older kids in Australia for a visit, and they bragged that it was the best airport ever in Brisbane, and we looked forward to that. And then we arrived there, and first of all, it was an extremely slow queue to the check-in.
Check-in.
And it was Eastern Airlines.
China Eastern.
Yeah. And we were there, and then, of course, we had some problems ourselves when we finally arrived at the check-in. Then we had too much kilos, and we had to buy a bag.
Repack, and a lot of stress.
A lot of stress.
Yeah.
And it was then only an hour until the flight was going, and still it's a small airport. We are optimistic. And then we went to the security, and that's the slowest I have ever experienced.
Yes.
And I've been to 20 countries and traveled my whole life, and this was the slowest. They have some new equipment, 3D or something, but they were not in a hurry. It was no worries.
Yeah, and very light back. We have time for everything.
Yeah, and we love the no worries about Australians. Yeah. We bragged a lot about you guys in Australia, that you are very good at having no worries. But in the airport, when you are not having that much time, it's getting irritating when you're just standing there and no one is doing anything.
I really think that check-in and security, that's something at the airport that should go very, very smooth, and people working there should also be aware that sometimes some people are coming early, have good amount of time, some people are a little bit late, and that process should go smooth.
Yeah, and we were there 3 hours before or something, so we should have made it.
Good time.
Yeah. And I have a small thing I don't understand about airports. They could share the expenses of just having 2-3 more people in the check-in. That is in the whole world. I don't understand it. They are losing money, everybody, on this thing that you're standing in a queue for an hour. I could have then bought coffee, cake,
whatever,
food, instead of standing in the queue. So a lot of people are losing a lot of money of us standing in a queue. And it looks like the world agrees that at the airport, you're in a queue.
Yeah.
They agree on that, but
Yeah.
it's not very smart if you think economics. So it's a very strange system, and it's been like that since I was born. So I don't
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, that's a small little detour on the airport irritation, and then
Yeah.
we have
Yeah,
the
the
next
China
flight.
Eastern was the flight was okay. Maybe a little bit slow service. Some entertainment on the board. So the trip, I think, went quite fast for me, at least.
Yeah, we were not impressed by the service for sure. Very, 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 very slow. And then we arrived in Shanghai, and Magda, I have I have complained a lot now the last few days, and she feels she's guilty. But I try to explain also that I'm guilty because I haven't been involved in the decisions of where to go. I just said do it, and she's researching and looking and just booking stuff. And she had a hotel next to the airport almost in Shanghai.
Close the airport, yeah, around 15, 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah, and that sounded great. In my head, when I was in the couch relaxing, in my head, I thought, oh, that would be nice to just be next to the airport in Shanghai and then have an evening trip, looking at all the lights and all the fancy stuff. And then we went into,
We ended up in the middle of almost nowhere. Very, very local place. No shops whatsoever. Nothing. I was not expecting that myself. I really thought, and I didn't research maybe enough. I just want to have something close because we arrived late. But in my head, I also had like we can at least go somewhere out in the morning, eat some breakfast, just see something. But there's nothing there.
yeah, well, the trip was in the dark and a small bus, and we were driving different kinds of roads because they
They're
were building
building.
many highways at the same time. And we just looked out, and there was nothing there
Yeah.
except building highways and very humpy roads.
Yeah.
And then we had to change the bus to a smaller car, and no one could say anything in English. And where are we actually going?
Yeah.
And we came to the reception, and then we found out that the receptionist was the guy driving the car.
So he had to pick up other
And he
people
was
before
driving back
checking
and
it.
forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And our room was in the reception. So, and yeah, when you have a toilet and a bathtub in the hotel room where you sleep, it's kind of yeah.
Thinking about toilets, a toilet with no door, only some curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went out to look at the area, and we quickly found out that we could not use Visa, and we didn't have any local money because it was only for a few hours.
Yeah.
So we decided very quickly to just get to the airport as fast as possible. So we were there for 7 hours.
7 hours or something, yeah.
But we saw China more of how a lot of China is for sure outside the tourist places and the big cities. This is China.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure still. It's a huge country, so of course you have a lot of same as Australians say you haven't seen the whole country. I'm sure. So, but this is
There are beautiful areas, and these big cities are for sure impressing.
then we went to the the Shanghai Airways.
Shanghai Airlines, yes, and we also were not really prepared, and I didn't really think about checking what type of the flight are we taking. I was also having, okay, we are getting food, we have some entertainment, it would be nice, only 6 hours. But then it was the small plane, the regular Airbus something.
Yeah, three seats on each
no
side.
entertainment on the board. We had nothing prepared. I had something for our daughter, so we survived that part. But for us, it's like looking on around, listening to some music. Luckily, you had something.
Yeah. And then we came to Thailand, and we will get into a lot. We are staying here for 3 weeks, but our first impression is that it's very different, and we knew it. But today, actually, we had a real discussion because I am more disappointed than Magda. And I'm thinking, no, what have we done? I am sure in my head I was agreeing that Thailand is beautiful and we will eat a lot of nice food for cheap buck, but it's chaos. It's feels warmer, and it's not what we in Australia. We had a beach, we had a pool, and we had stuff we could do with Emilia, who is 5 years old. If she needed to get a bit of entertainment, we had some playgrounds, shopping
Shopping
center,
center.
library.
Yeah.
And now I just am thinking, have we just now made the typical going to Spain for a week and just done that for 3 weeks now in some chaotic,
Yeah, we
very
are
warm place?
far from everything, unfortunately. The place, after researching, it was, oh, it's so nice, family friendly, you have great beach, that it's very safe for kids to bath, and that, I think, it stuck with me. Oh, nice, we will have a good beach, but then we have to walk 15 minutes or something to the beach, which is, it's doable, of course, but in the heat, especially coming back from the beach, it's quite challenging for us. And the pool that we have here in that apartment is okay, but the floor is not prepared to walk barefoot because it's way too warm. And the pool is a little bit too deep for our daughter to stand and play, so we need to watch her all the time, and she has to swim or hold onto a swimming ring. Yeah.
And the beach reminds me of everywhere in south of Europe. So we are now used to a beach with a lot of waves, and I looked forward to a calm water in Thailand and just take a lot of fantastic photos of this blue water and the hills in the background. And it's more stuck of tourists and sunbeds. So we didn't think it through enough, I think. But when that is said, please follow us on this journey because I am trying to work with myself, getting optimistic, and said to Magda, tomorrow or the next day, we have to go on a trip to get back the feeling that we
Yeah,
are
we need to
doing
lighten
something.
up. Yeah.
So we will take a boat ride or something and do something amazing. And the next video will show you Thailand as the postcard you've seen and
No
where you
complaining anymore.
where you will think I have to go to Thailand. Fantastic. It's heaven. That is the next video. That's my hope. Your hope?
Yes, absolutely. And we will also try to see how is it really to go as a not real travel family, because we are not the travelers. Yes, we tried to live in Australia, and that was our major plan. And now we just adjusted, and how it is as a not travelers to travel with the kid and manage that. Because
Yeah.
that's challenging. As an adult, we could find many things to do here, I believe.
Both me and Magda
Much
has
easier.
been in Thailand as backpackers, and then you just have your backpack, you just have something, and then you just go where you go.
Yeah.
We are not doing that with a 5-year-old, so it is a totally different experience. But I'm sure we will deliver a great video from an adventure in a few 4 days' time, and we will be more optimistic.
If you like the content of our video, please click on like and subscribe.